In the first scene, Cartman wakes up, brushes his teeth, and asks Alexa to play his favorite radio show. But instead of sound, there's silence. His mom explains that the new Trump administration has canceled NPR. Cartman is furious, not because he liked NPR, but because without it, woke culture is dead, and now he has nothing left to complain about. At the bus stop, he rants to Kyle and Kenny, calling NPR the funniest show ever. He's shaken by the shift in culture and tells Butters, "Woke is over." He's afraid he's lost his edge. Even on the bus, he won't stop complaining that the world is becoming too safe. At school assembly, PC principal steps up and announces he's now the Power Christian principal, declaring that compassion is dead. Then, to everyone's shock, he invites Jesus Christ to speak at school. Jesus floats in like he's being forced to do jury duty. He barely says a word, just mutters that he didn't want to come back, then warns the crowd not to resist, or they'll end up like Colbert. That's it. Scene over. Super awkward. Later that night, Cartman shouts to his dad, "Jesus showed up at school today." Randy, confused, asks Siri if that's even legal. He mumbles that public schools aren't supposed to teach religion. The next morning, Jesus is just standing in the hallway. Cartman pulls Butters aside, clearly shaken. "Something's different," he says.
"I think woke is dead."
He explains people are suddenly fine saying anything, offensive jokes, slurs, whatever, and no one even flinches. For once, Cartman isn't smug. He's lost. If nothing is off limits anymore, what's left for him to rebel against? Meanwhile, at Skeeter's wine bar, the adults watch the news. A nervous anchor reports the president is pushing religion into schools, and threatening to sue anyone who disagrees. Randy asks who this guy thinks he is. Gerald says,
"I told you this was all gonna be bad, but a lot of you here voted for him."
But now he's just suing everyone and cashing in. Frustrated, Gerald and Randy rally the crowd. They march to Garrison's house, thinking he's still in charge. They break down the door, only to find Garrison and Rick chilling with their dog, watching White Lotus. The crowd demands answers, but Rick sets them straight.
"He hasn't been back to Washington in years. He gave all that up."
Then we cut to the White House. Canada's new Prime Minister arrives to meet President Trump, who now struts in like a full-blown dictator, complete with dramatic entrance music. When the PM brings up tariffs, Trump threatens to bomb them like he did Iraq. "That was Iran," the PM corrects. Trump shrugs. "What's the difference?" As they walk past the hallway of Trump portraits, Trump suddenly flips out. One painting, he claims, made his junk look too small. He has the artist thrown out and threatens a lawsuit. Later, Trump strips down and climbs into bed with Satan. He groans that he's been working all day. Satan rolls his eyes. "You just post memes and mess around." Then, staring down, he mutters, "And I still can't even see it." The next morning, Cartman walks through town in a "Woke is dead" shirt. Everything feels off. At Stark's Pond, he sits alone, looking empty. Butters finds him. Cartman says nothing's funny anymore. He doesn't feel special. He tells Butters he's going to kill himself and take him too. Butters begs him to wait. Cartman agrees to give it until Tuesday. At school, Stan is summoned to PC principal's office. He's accused of bullying Jesus for not letting him sit at lunch. Stan explains the table was just full, and asks why PC principal is acting so differently. PC principal says he's found Christ, and tells Stan to accept Jesus or get expelled. When Stan says that's illegal, PC principal replies, "Not much is illegal anymore." Meanwhile, at the White House, Trump is out on the lawn partying with his supporters. But inside, he's told he has a call from some angry voters. It's Randy and the townspeople. Randy complains about Stan being forced to sit with Jesus at school. Trump tells him to calm down because the protests are making him look bad. When Randy pushes back, Trump threatens to sue the entire town for $5 billion. Later, Trump climbs into bed naked with Satan. Satan's annoyed, says he's not in the mood and brings up someone on Instagram accusing Trump of being on the Epstein list. Trump brushes it off, tells him to relax. Satan sighs and says Trump reminds him of someone else he dated. Same excuses, same behavior. Trump just smiles and says, "That's because I love you the same way." On Tuesday, Butters is playing in his room when his mom tells him Cartman's at the door. Butters tries to avoid him, but she insists he go outside and be social. He heads to the garage, and finds Cartman sitting in the family car with a hose, trying to poison himself. Horrified, Butters tells him to stop, but Cartman insists this is it, Tuesday's here. Cartman convinces Butters to close the car door to keep the fumes in, and pressures him to join. Butters hesitates, but gives in. The two of them sit quietly, taking turns with the hose, waiting to die. 60 Minutes nervously covers the South Park protest, calling the president a great man, and pretending not to support the crowd. A scared reporter on the ground avoids real questions, then randomly says Stan is probably a F-word, just to deflect. Randy says he's done being told what to think. Daryl admits Woke went too far, but so has this. Steven says compassion still matters, and he's proud of his electric car. Meanwhile, Cartman and Butters are still in the garage, slowly trying to poison themselves, frustrated that it's taking so long. At school, PC principal watches the protest grow. Randy's leading it now, saying this fight isn't over. Jesus shows up offering bread, calling it his body, but leans in and mutters that he didn't want to be here. It's part of a lawsuit deal with Paramount. He warns the townspeople, when someone has the power to be president and sue people and take bribes, they can do whatever they want. If South Park doesn't stay quiet, it could get cancelled, just like The Late Show. So, the townspeople head to the law office. Gerald negotiates directly with the president. The deal? South Park pays $3.5 million, cuts funding for schools and hospitals, and agrees to make pro-Trump ads. Most people are unsure, but Gerald convinces them to go along with it, for now. The ad rolls. It shows a fake Trump wandering shirtless through a desert, making some dramatic sacrifice for America. Then, his tiny cartoon penis suddenly talks, saying it approves of the message. A voiceover adds, "His love for America is massive, even if his junk isn't." Meanwhile, Butters and Cartman are still in the garage, patiently waiting for the carbon monoxide to finally work.